Welcome back. I'm Gary Parr.
And I'm Beth Ellicott.
And you're listening to the midweek version of Fiber Talk, the twice-weekly podcast for needlework artists.
We're arting this week, huh?
Well, all right, sure. Why not? A little late this week, recording this on Wednesday night, so it'll go up on Wednesday night. Schedule's just got in the way, and
and I'm fighting something.
Best battling the yucks, so we delayed a day of recording so she could feel better, and anyway, so it happens. We do the best we can. Now, no Stitch Hour. Well, I'm saying no Stitch Hour tonight when it's going to go up after the Stitch Hour, so that's pointless.
Yeah.
But we will have a Stitch Hour next week. Looks like we're hanging in there with the every other week thing, so yay for us.
Yes.
Sunday, Dawn Cook Ronigan is our guest, and she has a new book, Sewing Rolls, Needle Rolls, and Huswifts.
Yes.
Yes.
Good. That was a great book. That's a great book. Get the book and then listen to our talk, because I've been thinking about that book and thinking about looking at the images through it again and making a little huswife for myself. Getting some ideas. But it's a fantastic book. Yep. It's not a pattern book. Okay, so it's not a pattern book. It's a collection of. It's her collection, right? No.
Right. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, her collection, and I think there's a couple in there that from museums, but no, it's basically her collection.
Right.
I want to spend a week with her collection of all of her stuff. I bet that's amazing.
Yes. Let's go look through her things.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, this is her second book now. We did a show with her some time ago. Her first book was, what was it? Antique American Needlework Tools.
Mm-hmm.
Also very cool.
Yes.
Yeah. So when you're buying the new one, buy the old one, because if you don't have it, because you're going to, you'll be glad to have them. They're fun.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
It's just fun to look at. And the photos on this one are just fantastic. So you really can see the materials that are used, and it's very well laid out. Wonderful book.
Yeah, very cool stuff. And you can get the book at Sassy Jacks, and pretty much I think any needlework store can get them for you.
Yes.
And can get both of them.
Right.
So, yeah, but we know that Kim at Sassy Jacks has them. And, the needle rolls and what we learned about them, and working on my vintage sewing machines, I have to say, when I get the one that I've got, my first one is all cleaned, and the two replacement parts that I needed have come in. So now I'm about to put it all back together. And then, what can I sew with it? And when this book came out, it was, I think, I'm with you. Let me give it a little try here. Yeah.
Right. Because it's just really straight lines. It's not going to be anything too difficult.
Right.
Yeah, that'd be a great way to put your little sewing machine to a test.
Yeah. So I think so. But now it's interesting, and one of the things that we talk about quite a bit is the instructions that women had when those were a normal piece of daily use tools. That came out well. Was the instructions were really quite vague. It wasn't
very basic. It was that was interesting to hear her talk about that, because we all want a pattern. We're used to, like, if you've done any sewing, and I've not done that much, but you go and you buy a pattern and you cut it out and you have these little darts or whatever they are, and then you kind of assemble it in a certain way, and it's full instructions, like in an Inspirations magazine or any of the books. They're very laid out. This is like, it's about, take a piece of fabric, sew it together, and you've done. And you're like, what?
Yeah, it's like they don't even say cut a piece of fabric 5 by 9 inches. It's just, just make it up.
Right. So they must have been much more confident in their sewing skills at that point in time.
Yeah, must have been. Yeah. What were those patterns? My mom used to sew a lot, and she was always dragging us to the pattern store, or the equivalent of Joanne.
Yeah.
Was it Butterick? Was that one of them?
That was one, and there's another one, and I can see it. Simplicity was another.
Yeah, there was
name.
one. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, because we did too, and we got in trouble several times for playing hide and seek in the fabrics. I remember.
Well,
one time
what do you want kids to do?
We would hide under them and then boo. And then my mom one time booed us, scared the heebie-jeebies out of us, and that was like. And she said, "Go stand over there until I'm done." Yes, ma'am, because you did not disobey your mom at that point in time.
Yeah.
And like, oh yeah.
Yeah, because what else were you supposed to do while they're sitting there rifling through pattern packages,
Right.
Yeah,
right.
There's places to hide. There's all kinds of colors. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's play. and there were 6 of us. Let's be real.
Oh, my. Oh, that ain't, yeah, that's...
Yeah.
That's a basketball team with a substitute. You got things to do.
Right. She didn't take us too often, but occasionally.
Yeah, I'm surprised I remembered Butterick, but yeah, Simplicity.
And there's another one, McCall's.
Oh, McCall's was, yeah, because they had the magazine, right?
Mm-hmm. And then I think they also had patterns too.
Yeah. So, So anyway, yep. Yeah, so I think that's worth taking a shot. Just grab some fabric and see what happens.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it'd be nice. I've been thinking it'd be nice to have one to put tools in when I go places. Just kind of fun.
Yeah.
A different way to carry tools. Yeah. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
I'll have to try it sometime.
Yep. So I was thinking, and some people have already sent pictures of their vintage and antique sewing machines. Some very cool ones. Sharon Bruce, did we talk about this last week? I don't know.
I think so.
Did we?
A little bit.
Yeah. Her machine, her hand crank machine that she uses every day or uses all the time. So, send photos. If you have photos of a vintage machine that you continue to use or that you just have on display, send them to me because I want to do a little video and just show off what everybody in the audience has because there's some pretty cool stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fire them off. Yeah. So anyway, Dawn on Sunday will be our guest, and that she's great anyway. And she had all of her collections in a database. She keeps a database of all of her stuff. I was so impressed by that.
Yeah. And I don't even keep all my threads in a database, and I should, so I don't buy like 3 of the same color, which I find all the time.
Well, Dawn's all organized, so
yeah.
It's impressive. Yep. So that's what's coming up now. 2 discounts at play. Fiber Talk 5 is the code you use to get $5 off a current lecture or a recorded lecture from EGA. And that's good through May 1. So current or a recorded lecture, and there's several good recorded lectures. So that gets you $5 off, which is what the rate is. So it's a free one, basically.
And those lectures are so good.
Yes.
I mean, I enjoy listening to them. I often can't make before, it was the lottery and it was hard to get in. But also sometimes they were at a time when I couldn't do this. So having them recorded that I pay $5 to listen to one, that's fantastic. Because there's one coming up. Sally, what's her name? No, it's not Sally. It's a lady who makes little figures. She's got books.
Oh, Sally Maver. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Do not miss it.
That's going to be an excellent one. So I don't think I can listen when it's live. So I'm going to buy that recorded one because I think that's going to be a fantastic. And then coming up, I just heard a lecture from Lynn Anderson, and she's going to do one in September. So do you have to be an EGA member? Did we discuss this before?
I think you do.
And that's one of the things about being a member. You get this access to these lectures. And I think they're like the one coming up with Lynn Anderson, she's going to be talking about Mexican samplers. And I guess there's not a whole lot known about them. So I think that'll be a great lecture to listen to when she puts that one on in September. I think it's coming up in September.
Yeah.
But any of them are great. What a great way to learn more about our favorite hobby.
Yep. Yeah, Sally Maver. Now, if you don't know who Sally Maver is and don't follow her and aren't on her mailing list or something, get there, because I don't think there's anybody doing what she does anywhere.
No. It's just fantastic. I know I followed her for years. Like some of her children's, I think she's done books.
Yeah.
So like children's books, and I read them to my kids, I think. So her stuff is fantastic.
Yeah, she makes 3D people and animals and does dioramas, and then she's done at least a couple of books where she's taken her figurines and made a story out of them.
Mm-hmm.
And photographed them. But she's an incredible talent. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, really incredible. Absolutely. So that's one. Don't miss it. Yeah, join the EGA, because that's just one of a couple thousand reasons why it's worth being a member. Yeah.
Right.
Yep. And then Queenstown Sampler Designs, Fiber Talk 10. So Fiber Talk and the number 10. That's through the EGA thing. Fiber Talk 5 is through the end of April. Fiber Talk 10 at Sassy Jacks Stitchery through the end of April, through April 30, gets you 10% off Queenstown charts and kits. So, and the instruction is go to sassyjackstitchery.com, and if you buy a chart, Fiber Talk 10 gets you 10% off of however many. It doesn't matter. It's any of the Queenstown ones. If you want a kit, then put in the comments that contact me to set up the kit or to arrange for the kit or whatever. Then Kim will call you and figure out what linen or Aida cloth you want, what ground cloth you want, and what threads you want. And she'll call you and put the kit together with you. And you get
or the lazy way to do it is you put in the comments, you say, Kim, I want a kit. I like 40 count in DMC or Cosmos or combination or silks, MPI silks, whatever you like. And then she also puts it together for you. And that way if you miss her phone call, then you don't have to worry about it, because she's already got your information, what you want. And that's the lazy way to do it. Just put it in the notes, what you want.
Yep. And you'll like what she puts together. Yep.
Yes, she does a beautiful job picking things out for you. So yeah.
So Fiber Talk 10, that's through the end of April, all the Queenstown charts and kits. And we had 2 weeks ago, last week, we had Barbara Hudson on showing her new Nashville releases, and she showed us some that have not been released. And then she put one up a couple of days after that I had not seen, and I have not written down the name of it, but it was like, we should have talked about that one in the show too.
Yes, yeah, that was a beautiful one, and I think it's released, so it's because I saw it on Kim's site, which was very scary. So I was like, why did you tell me this after I'd already done a little order? I might have to do another little order here, because that one had a lot of satin stitch in it.
Yes.
Is that the one you're talking about?
Yes. Yep.
Oh,
yeah.
I know which one you were speaking of,
yeah.
and it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. I'm like, now I've got to go back and place another order with Kim.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to. Yeah, it's an obligation.
Yes.
It's not a desire.
Absolutely.
It's an obligation. Yes.
Yes, because I need it in my stash.
Yes. So there's 10% off charts and kits through the end of April at Sassy Jacks Stitchery, all Queenstown. Now don't start thinking it's all the sampler charts. It's just Queenstown sampler designs. But if you look at that collection, if you can't find something in there that you like or don't, it's
you're gonna find something.
Yeah.
And the new ones, I especially love the ones with all the bright color. It had that purple in it. the purple vases that was just like a riot of color. And I could just see that was like, okay, I want to take that apart and make a little small out of that little vase there. So it's like, oh, well,
yep.
Yeah, I need that.
Yeah. So there's a couple of discounts for you. And of course, whenever you make a purchase that we enable you to make, mention Fiber Talk. It's always appreciated.
Yes.
And spread the word. Feel free to tell others that they can save 10% at Sassy Jacks Stitchery on Queenstown charts and kits. It's
right.
Okay. You don't have to keep it to yourself. It's quite all right.
No, yeah. Kim has plenty of charts.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And she posted what now we're looking at June to finally get open. Boy, she's been through the ringer with that new place. Holy smokes.
Right. And I think it's one of the inspectors was kind of holding her up, so she got a new inspector, which is probably a smart move.
Holy smokes!
I know, but now if it's really in June, I told my husband, I said, then we can go out there and we haven't done all of the Blue Ridge Mountain.
There we go.
And I was like, we can go and visit her and do the rest of the mountains. That'll be a fun trip in my little camper.
There you go. Yep. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's coming up. Yeah, that's going to be a special place, I think, when she gets that open. But oh boy, you talk about I don't know how she has not completely blown her stack over all this. And you'd think towns, I never understand. You think towns would do everything they can, and I know there's safety things you got to meet with a place of business, and when you're rehabbing a historic old house, that adds several layers to it, and it's a historic house, so it has to meet requirements there. But man, you'd think that a town would move a small mountain to make it possible to get open.
Right. To help another business open, to increase revenue to the town.
Yeah.
You would think.
Yeah. And I know from my architectural magazine days, we had several articles, and I talked to several architects, that when you work on historic structures and you have to deal with the historic committee in a municipality, the complications just explode.
Right.
Because you have to have modern amenities, but that building from the street has to look just like it did. And yet then within all that, you have to have the safety and the insulated walls, things that didn't exist then,
Right,
and,
right.
It's tough. It's tough. I sympathize with Kim a lot, but you also hope that you have somebody working on your behalf at the city to get you open as soon as possible too. But,
right. So we can have that business and I'm so looking forward to her being open. I'm sure she is too.
I'm sure too. Yeah. I haven't seen any town anywhere that was rolling in cash and didn't care if they brought in new business. And let's go.
Right.
So finally excited for that. It looks like they're now down to just checking a few boxes finally, and but then I'm sure she's been at that doorstep more than once in the past, and had delays. So let's hope. I mean, at some point you just run out of things to complain about, or to check, to check or to make fix. Yeah,
right.
There's only so many things. A finite set of items in a building. Yeah.
Right. Yes. Let her go. Let her get this shop up and running.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I want to do. I want to see it, but I want to go through with her husband, Everett. I want to go through with him and hear the stories of all he had to do to get that thing so they could open a store. I'm betting he can tell some stories about construction and opening walls that, oh no, not this, that kind of thing.
Right, because even if your house isn't that old, anytime you do any sort of repair work, it's like, oh, I just opened a rat's nest.
Yep.
And I'm sure with that old house, there was lots of it.
Yep.
Lots of it.
Yep.
Yeah, that would be fun to hear Everett's side of the story.
Yeah, exactly. No, I want to hear that story. And it's going to be so cool because she'll have the store, and then they have a lot of land there. So then they're going to build a classroom facility behind the store.
And that'll be fantastic.
Think about that. classes, a classroom set up for needle workers.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you're local there, that's what we have. We were talking about that. Where can we meet as a group to sit and stitch? To have a stitch in, or to could stitchers rent the room if it's not
Yeah.
She's not using it for a workshop.
Yeah.
That would be fantastic. Or I don't know. It's just so nice that she's going to have that space.
Yeah. Whenever that comes up, I think of Alison Cole's place there in Australia.
Oh, yes.
Windows everywhere, all kinds of space. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So that's going to be very cool too. Yeah. So
definitely.
All right, we're cheering you on, Kim, from the Midwest.
Yes, because we want to go see it. We want to come shopping.
Yeah, it's very selfish cheering, but we're cheering nonetheless.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. Yep. So watch for that. The best way to keep up is go to Facebook and join the Sassy Jacks group there, and then that's where the updates happen. So
right.
And they'll hopefully be coming faster and sooner as we go. Yep.
Yes.
All right, Jane Turner.
Yes. Are you starting her?
I have sent an order to Kim for ground cloth and threads for Jane Turner. So as soon as I get that material, which is going to probably be as soon as she gets all the threads that I need to send to me, so that I get, which you can see that coming. Then yes,
all right,
I want to start.
I've got my fabric loaded up. I think I'm using antique white, 40 count, because that's what I could find.
Mm-hmm.
That was the right color in my stash. I've loaded it on my millennial frame, and so it's ready to go. I think my chart's on the way here, so
yep,
I'm pretty excited.
I know your chart's on the way because I mailed it, so that I know for sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I stood in line at the post office and turned it over so it would go to you. So
excellent.
And you have all your threads too.
I do. I did get them from Hand Dyed Fiber, Vicki Clayton.
Oh, yes.
She set up a. So if you ever ask her, she will pull. If you send her the DMC information, she will pull what she thinks will match and send it off to you, bill you and send it off to you. So that's a nice feature. And stores can get it. I think if stores want to carry, some stores carry Vicki Clayton now.
Okay.
So I think Kim talked to her about it too.
Oh, good.
So maybe when she gets set up, because they're beautiful threads. And these are solid. They're not, she didn't send me variegated threads. They're solid colors. But I might switch some out because
you're you.
Because I got to. I can't do the same color that's charted. I gotta change it. In fact, I'm looking across the room, and I finished my first 17th century sampler, which was the white one, and now the next one is the colored 17th century sampler, which has colored needle lace in it. And I have my fabric set up for that too. And I'm getting pretty excited about starting it. So I'm starting all the things.
Yes, you are. Yeah.
Because I have nothing to do.
Yeah. Right. Bored out of your mind. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. If anyone wants to do the start along with us on the Jane Turner, it's from the Sampler, Marguerite Hogue, her website, her collection. Get the chart from Marguerite, and she may sell the kits. I'm not sure. I just went to Kim.
I don't think so. I don't think she's selling kits, right? I thought she
was.
Oh,
that's right. She's getting away from that. She's trying to get to PDF downloads. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anyway, you can get the chart, then get the threads and ground cloth, and start with us.
Yes, everyone needs a new start along.
Yep.
Jane Turner, and this is a beautiful sampler. It's got. Well, I don't have the chart in front of me, but it has it has needle lace.
I just so happen to be prepared in this one instance, and I have it right in front of me. Now, this is the one instance in this show where I'm prepared, but I just happen to be prepared for this. So
I'm glad. I'm glad.
Mark that down in your little ledger there.
I am. I'm taking a little note right now.
Yeah. Right in bold ink so that we remember I was prepared for this one instance. Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
So Marguerite Hogue at the Assembleur, in fair warning, she recommends this for very, very advanced stitchers. So, buckle up.
Right.
But yeah, here's the stitches. Double running, which is the Holbein stitch, satin, seed, trellis, spiral trellis, bullion, detached buttonhole, couching, chain, Montenegrin, and marking cross.
Yes. And the ones that I'm a little more nervous about are the trellis stitches, because I know tension is extraordinarily important in getting those to look even halfway decent. Yeah. So it's going to be a nice challenge. It'll be a nice challenge on those.
This is a doodle cloth project. You'll want to have one.
Yes. I think I made mine wide enough that I can do a little bit in the margins too, which I've also done just because, where's my doodle cloth? I don't want to set it up. Let me just doodle in the margin.
Yeah. Smart move there. Yep.
Yeah.
So, but fair warning. It's a 7x24. It's effectively a band sampler, though some of the bands are rather deep. But 7x24 on 35 count. So, yeah. Beautiful.
It's a gorgeous sampler and I love the person in the middle.
Yep. Gorgeous. Yeah. So if you want to do a start along with us.
Because we're good at start alongs.
Yep. We are expert at start alongs. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. As soon as I get, I'll send the signal as soon as I get my threads and ground cloth. I wanted to get that chalk from Fox and Rabbit. I forget. There's two words, something chalk or something like that.
Dry chalk. I don't remember.
I don't know. It's kind of an off-white. Mm-hmm. And if Kim doesn't have that, then I went with the one that I did Hannah Longstreth on, which now also escapes me. Which is kind of an off-white one too. So yeah.
Wasn't Russian tea cake though?
No. Yes, it was.
Oh, okay.
Is that right? Yeah, Russian tea cake. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty fabric.
Yeah, because this needs to be on a whiter background.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and that's why I had the antique white, and because I think I pulled several, and put the threads next to them, and decided that the antique white looks the best. I did have some 45 count that it looked really good on, but then I noticed it was 45 count, and I thought, no, that's going a little too small. I'm sure the girl did it on something like 60 count, but
because this is what she had, and she's young, and she has good eyes, and
right. No, I ain't got enough time for that.
What did Marguerite do when she was charting this here? She just says 35 count dyed linen.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that was.
Right.
So who knows? But yeah, it definitely needs to be on a lighter count, because there's a lot of really thin stitching that you want to stand out, and you'll lose it. Yeah.
Right. And yeah, just you're taking all this time. You want your stitches to show,
right?
Not disappear. Because I did look at something that was like a more colored, like not a yellow, but it just, I was like, no, I got to stay with this. With this. So.
And then if you're going to do this, you'll also want the Montenegrin book by
Amy Mitten.
Yes. Kim can help you with that. Yeah, most shops can help you with that. But you definitely want, anytime Montenegrin is involved, you want that book.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And you will wear it out. That book is not going to stay nice and neat. No. It's going to be one of those you're flipping back and forth with it.
Yeah, it's a little 4x5 by an inch thick, spiral bound, so which is brilliant because you'll wear it out. Yep, yeah, and also if you're tackling Montenegrin, there are 2 or 3 ways to go about it in that book, and explore those because it's likely one way will speak to you better than the others. And do it that way. You don't have to do it the first way in the book, because I think it was the one in the back was the one that I finally visually connected with, and did it that way. But yeah, you got to have that book. Montenegrin's not a big deal on a straight line, but
once you start going up and down.
Yep. And at an angle, and you turn a corner. That's when we get entertained. Yes.
Yes, absolutely. You're like, oh, what am I doing? Where's that? Which way am I going now?
Yep. So, and that book shows you how to do it. Yep. And you will sit there and.
Yes, you will use that book a lot. I was going to ask you though, are you going to try to make it somewhat reversible?
No, I'm not. No, okay. I'm not even going to pretend. No.
Okay. You're just going to go.
I'm just going to enjoy stitching a challenging piece without caring what happens on the back beyond what I normally care. No.
Right.
I'm not. No. That just sucks the fun out of it. No, thank you.
Right. And I have a piece that it's almost reversible, but I couldn't get it totally reversible. There was just no way. It was just driving me out of my mind. I was like, you know what? That's okay.
Yeah.
No one's going to see the back of this anyway because I'm going to frame it and the back's going to go away. So why am I caring so much? So.
Yeah. No, anyone's welcome to look at the backside of any of my pieces. I don't care. Look all you want, study it all you want, but do not expect it to be reversible because it's not going to be.
Right.
Nope. But that's a good one. Jane Turner, 1668 from the Sampler. Order up. I don't know how long it's going to take Kim to get my stuff to me because I don't know what she's dealing with in terms of Veriswa silks. But when it gets here, we'll fire it up. Yep.
Okay. It's going to be fun.
Now, you asked a good question here. If you think you need to rip, this one got me thinking. If you think you need to rip something out, when do you decide? Do you wait and make sure, or do you just rip it off just like a Band-Aid?
Yeah. I'm working on Shimmering Dreams, which is an EGA group correspondence course with my guild. And I chose my center color, which was a Krynek red. And then I started stitching off the next section. And to me, that red is almost right. It depends on the angle you look at. If you look at it straight on, it looks off. But if you look at it just a little to the side, it's okay. And so I've left it in. But you rip it out? I mean, would you have said, oh, this isn't going to work and just ripped? Or would you wait?
If you got to look at it just such to make it look the way you want, I'd rip it out. And I'd find a red that when you look at it from a normal distance at a normal angle, that it works. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you got to hold your head just so to see it, to me, that's not.
Well, and I'm not sure if it's because I walked past it just before we started recording. And I was like, that doesn't look too bad. So I'm leaving it in until I see my guild. My guild is meeting on Tuesday, and I want to see what they say. So I'll probably end up ripping it out. And whether I find the right red is a problem because reds are difficult to match.
Yeah.
I love the red center. I think it looks cool, but I might have to move to a gray or even a black, which would be striking too.
Okay, but then let me ask this question. Have you done the stitching around it?
Yes.
So you know the impact of that?
Right.
Yeah, because if it was just sitting there by itself, that really tells you nothing other than it's a red.
Right.
Yeah.
And it looked fine on the canvas at that point because I did paint my canvas gray because that's what I do. And the reds, it's hard. Again, I was looking for reds that I could variegate out, and I think they work. But I want my guild to look at it, the other members, and see what they think. And a photo doesn't tell you.
Nope.
It just doesn't. It doesn't show true color. I can't get it because it looks okay. If you take a photo, it's like, yeah, what's the problem, Beth? But I want someone else to see and say, well, yeah, maybe you should change. And I do have other red threads. So, and I could do it I don't have to do it in the Krynek. It's the center, so it's supposed to be sparkly.
Mm-hmm.
But I could do something else in there too.
Yeah.
But, so do you always, you wouldn't even wait though, you just rip it?
Well, based on your description, I would. Yeah. If I have to be in just the right light at just the right angle to have it look the way I want it, to me, that thread's not effective. Right. You have to find something that, if you look at a weird angle, it doesn't look quite right, but in normal viewing, it looks exactly how you want it. To me, that's the target.
Right. And that's what I've been thinking. I think it's good to show other people too. I'm showing, because I will be showing it to my guild. But I don't mind ripping it out. That's not going to bother me. I mean,
and the fact that you brought it up and that it's got you thinking about it for more than 2 minutes tells me it's not working. Right.
And because, yes, anytime I was sitting down to stitch on it, I was like, oh, the center.
Yeah. See, that's got to come out. Something else has got to go in there. Yeah.
Right. And that's fine. But again, I will probably wait until I show it to my guild and we have a little discussion about color, because I think that's important. I think people who are learning to do needlework, and that's what EGA is about, it's a good learning experience. When do you rip, when do you leave it in?
Yeah.
And I know people who don't do a lot of needlework who would say, oh, that's just terrible that you have to rip it out. And I'm like, it is what it is. If I have to rip it, I have to rip it.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me. I'm not going to leave it in if I don't like it.
Because see, this is what this is telling me is when you finish the piece and hang it up on the wall, 6 months from now, when you walk by it, the first thing in your head is that work is not going to be that worked out. It's going to be, is that red really right? And see, you see, you're starting off with a negative with every viewing, and to me, that's, or if somebody comes and sees it, and you want to have a discussion about that red, that tells me that you didn't have the right red,
right,
and color, whatever,
right, and I think that's the thing. I think that's where you have to decide: is anyone going to see it? Am I going to notice it? Is it going to bother me every single time I see it?
Yeah.
And if it is, then it definitely needs to come out.
And it's already bothering you, and you don't even have the piece done. So.
Right. And the next layer that goes on needs more sparkly thread. So I can't really move on. I think I could do a little bit of it, but I can't do the final section of that layer until I know what that center is going to be. Because that center moves out into the next layer.
Yeah.
So your eye goes out.
Yeah.
From it. So yeah.
Yeah, you better get that center right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, so sad, but true. And I don't mind ripping. And it's an easy stitch rip, and I like doing it. So.
Yeah. I think if there's one thing I've learned from Gay Ann Rogers is, in most instances and for most people, ripping out is a very bad, very negative thing that is upsetting. And Gay Ann Rogers has turned me around on that. I no longer, I won't say that. I do get upset when I miscount and something I should have done correctly but just got sloppy, or was, something blew up in a movie and I miscounted, that's upsetting. But the stitch it doesn't look right, pull it out, is no longer rubs me the wrong way. Just because of listening to Gay Ann Rogers time after time, if you don't like it, rip it out. And she's really changed my thinking on that.
Yeah, and again, I don't mind ripping, and I do it all the time. But I think it's something you have to think about. Sometimes I do wait, because I think I've ripped things out and I'm like, oh, I didn't need to rip that. That was a mistake to rip.
Yeah.
So I generally wait, because if not, I get a little too hasty on it. And I'm like, okay, that could have stayed in. I take the seam ripper and make a hole in your canvas because you're so frustrated.
Yeah.
No, don't want to do that. Don't want to do that. To calm. But yeah.
But yeah, I think that's something. It's not always, in most instances, it's not a negative thing. It's a step toward getting the piece that you want.
Correct.
And sometimes it's putting in stitches, and sometimes it's taking them out. But the goal is to get the finished piece that you want, and that you're going to be happy with, and that when you look at it, your first thought isn't what's wrong with it, but your first thought is to enjoy the piece because it worked out the way you wanted it to.
Right. Yeah. And if it's not, then it's, you need to rethink it, like go back and try it again.
Yeah.
Which is fine. And in fact, you're speaking of Gay Ann reminded me, I'm working on her drawn thread sampler that I bought in 2014. That's the date I started it, actually.
I was going to say, that's a new one.
No. And two of the bands she has, I never cared for. I think it's just mainly her initials, and I can't remember what's in the other one. And now I know she won't care. I'm going to redo something in those bands. Having done the 17th century one has given me the confidence I need to work on this much more difficult. Well, it's not more difficult, but to change these bands out and the experience of that. And you're talking about her reminded me of that I need to pull that out and find something else to work in those sections. But,
see, there's the really cool crossover from doing different projects, different techniques. You would have probably never thought to change that band if you hadn't done the 17th century thing, and now that's equipped you with some tools to make that band more what you want. Right.
And to not to be afraid of it. It's like, okay, I can do this. I've done it on this other one. I can move forward on this and really change it out. A lot more confidence in that.
Yeah, that's part of why I'm a firm believer that needlework is doing different techniques makes you a better overall stitcher, because everything you do is equipping you to try something fresh somewhere else. And
right.
Yeah.
Right. And apply what you've learned in one technique to a different technique.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. No, it's there's a lot in there. Well, it was interesting. Now, and you and I had this discussion briefly. I don't know when. I forget. But that 17th century sampler thing, you and Cindy and Mary was working on it.
Mary's working on it, and actually Deb DeCrane.
And Deb DeCrane, not Cindy, but Deb DeCrane, yeah. But you guys kind of like supported each other through that thing, and it was cool to watch you guys just kind of be there. Everybody was kind of there as a team effort, each doing your own individual thing, and
right. And it was nice to have that support group. So at one point, I'd kind of gotten frustrated with mine because my stitching was falling out, and
that'll be frustrating.
Yes. And I was ready to just quit. I was saying, okay, this is done. This is too huge of an error. And I think it was Pat Rogers who said, those little girls, they wouldn't have wasted that fabric that was at the top. Just stitch it at the top. And I thought, but it's not going to be the same. And I thought, no, she's right. This is a practice piece. I always viewed it as a practice piece. I did it up top. And even just that encouragement from another stitcher, not to just wad it up and throw it away, because I was literally ready to do that and start all over again. And she's like, no, don't do that. Just redo it at the top. And then Deb working on hers, and the two of us saying, okay, this is how I got my tension. And it was just really encouraging to have a group to support you. And I think that sometimes needlework is, we're individuals, we stitch at home by ourselves. And that's been the nice thing about having Zoom meetings, is that we can gather with other like-minded people and talk about something we love and get encouragement on it. I know I follow Julie Fay-Fan Balzer, and she had kind of discussed how a support system of a community can kind of help you push your art forward. And I thought that was interesting, because it really did help me with the 17th century. I think I would have given up if those ladies hadn't encouraged me.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how I feel about that. And I don't know if it's a guy thing and a girl thing or what. Because I think for the most part, I'm perfectly content just doing it myself. But I really, and part of my hesitation is I've not participated in really any group thing that was ongoing, where everyone's working on the same project and working toward a common goal. So I'm not, I don't speak from experience, but I also don't feel a burning need to seek that out. I'm quite content to just be by myself. And I don't know, it makes me want to talk to other male stitchers and see if they're the same.
Yes, because that would be interesting to know, because I think sometimes women tend to like to talk to other people, women, about what they're working on. Even if it's just one other person, that they say, okay, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm stitching, but I think we tend to like to gather in groups. I think that's the reason why there's a lot of stitching groups that meet together, privately, or even in my guild, we've got at least one group that meets. They get together, I think, once a month or once a week. I'm not really sure. They physically get together and they just sit and stitch, and it's enjoyable for them. But I know the group correspondence course that we're working on together as a guild, the 17th century band sampler. I like meeting with other people and showing them what I've done and getting their feedback on it. I think it helps me improve. It helps me push me forward. And especially with the drawn thread sampler or the 17th century, I don't know if I would have finished those if I hadn't had the encouragement from those, my guild members.
Yeah.
Makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah. I just don't have enough experience, but also I know, like I said, I just don't seek it out. So.
Yeah. And I do think it's kind of a male thing. I know my husband just can work independently on his projects. He doesn't need someone else to talk to about it, except for maybe me. I'm working on this. But I know that I do. I get more encouragement if I have someone who's working on the same project with me and encouraging me and helping me move forward in it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah. You'll have to see if there's any male listeners, if they would, pipe in and let you know, because especially for something that's more difficult, I'm thinking is it Tim that's working on that casket? I think he's got a casket project.
Right.
I want to know, okay, so does he meet with other casketeers and work on the project, or is he just working on it all by himself?
Right.
And then there's the split stitch. What's his real name? Does a bunch of cross stitch. Yes, you know who I'm talking about. And he seems perfectly happy just showing his projects and stitching. But I'm just curious.
Yeah, I am too. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It kind of cracked me up when you're talking about caskets. Somebody just dropping in out of the blue, listening to the conversation, working on your casket project. What? What?
No. Boxes. Maybe that's a better word.
Yeah.
Box. There, the stump work box.
Because it's such a strange name for those.
Yes.
If you think about it, and it's not like it was a term that has evolved into the burial box today. I mean, caskets have been around forever.
Mm-hmm.
So why these boxes, these art boxes, got named caskets? I'm sure there's a reason, but it's just such a weird thing.
Yeah, and I know. Yeah, and when you tell people you're planning on working on your casket, they kind of look at you oddly. It's like you get this odd look. Oh, I mean my needlework box. Let me explain this. Let me
yeah. What are you, a Cleopatra wannabe, and you're trying to make sure that you're buried in the prettiest casket, or what's your deal?
Yes, yeah. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I gotta have the perfect one.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a weird one. That cracks me up every time. Yeah.
It is. It is strange. It is strange. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Oh.
Yeah. All right. Let's wrap this thing up. Sunday, Dawn, Cook, Ronigan. Next week, we'll have a stitch hour on Wednesday. Just some stitching and chatting. Don't have any guests planned. Remember that Fiber Talk 5 through the end of the month gets you a free lecture, recorded or live, and Fiber Talk 10 at Sassy Jacks Stitchery gets you 10% off Queenstown sampler design charts and or kits, and that's also through the end of the month. So time to talk yourself into multiples. Mm-hmm.
Yes, mm-hmm. Like I did.
Yes, time to be like Beth. That's what it's going to be. Yes.
And we're going to have a start along soon. Jane
Turner.
Start
along. Yep. Jane Turner from the Sampler 1668. Jane Turner 1668. Start along with us. But we have no date for that because doing start alongs when people don't have their stuff in hand is usually an exercise in futility. So
yes. We'll wait for Gary to get his stuff, but that gives you time to get your stuff. So
Right. So, and so it's whenever Kim can get the threads together. And that's, some of that's likely out of her control, too. So we just all wait.
We'll just all wait because we have plenty to stitch.
Yes. Yeah, there's plenty. All right. That's it. Thanks for listening.
Bye.